Over the weekend, we had Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. It was entertaining, but what people don't realize is that Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old and Jake is 28, which means that Mike Tyson is 2 times the age of his opponent, which is not fair whatsoever. And every single state knows this. That's exactly why they made it against the law to fight somebody this much of a difference between the ages. Every state except for Texas, which is exactly where they held this event. Jake Paul ultimately won, spoiler alert, and we all know that that was going to be the case. What we also saw was the trial for Laken Riley. And during that trial, we got some information that us on the right knew that was happening, but some on the left wanted to ignore. But the fact is, you cannot ignore it any longer. Laken Riley's killer is part of the same exact gang that took over an apartment complex in Colorado, also known as the Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang, or TDA for short. But we will get into that a little bit later. Focusing on how this person managed to get into America is appalling. The United States chartered a flight that was paid for by you, the taxpayer, to bring him from a border city into a state near you. How nice. And because of that, he was in the right area at the right time to commit this atrocity. His gang members caused an even worse display by not only ruining one person's life, but taking over an entire apartment complex and robbing or beating up anyone that lives there. If we take a deeper look, we can even see that the state of Colorado, instead of placing the blame on the federal government for doing so in the very first place, is putting the blame instead on the landlord of the property, and also is forcing him to sell it and pay an additional $60,000 for new security features, which is just absurd. And not placing the blame on the federal government is the complete wrong thing to do. The federal government is supposed to be protecting us, but that's not what they're doing, and it's no surprise. Additionally appalling because of the fact that the Pentagon can't even account for $824 billion, according to the latest figures, would give $5,000 back to each taxpayer, which is just absolutely absurd because I didn't even pay that much money in taxes for last year. So never mind for this year. So last year and this year combined wouldn't even be $5,000. So getting that back from the government because of the fact that they would have spent it anyway would have been the most ideal thing. This is a complete joke. The government under Joe Biden would never do that and never even think about doing that. And instead they would have given themselves a raise for that much money. With that being said, let's dig in.
Facts over tracks, isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Starting right off, we actually have the landlord in Colorado has now agreed to sell his apartment complex this is the center of the Venezuelan gang problem. The officials in Colorado have agreed to drop all the charges against the landlord. That has been at the center of this, according to a report and research obtained by the Denver Gazette. An agreement between the city and the partners detailed that the cities agree to drop off dozens of charges against the apartment complex landlord for failing to maintain the property. The charges against the landlord also stem from his other property, which has been shown in a viral video where members of the TDA, the violent Venezuelan migrant gang, took over an apartment by busting down the door with heavy artillery. The agreement states that in exchange for dropping the charges, he agrees to waive his right to a speedy trial, and Gnome Partners LLC agreed to sell or lease the property, and among other things, pay up to $60,000 for the cost to clean up and secure the complex. 9 News reported. The company also blamed the TDA gang takeover for causing the Aspen Grove apartments deteriorate into unlivable conditions. This is the exact case here. It's not the landlord's fault that the migrants decided to take over the complex, but the migrants aren't even supposed to be here in the very first place if the government of America actually cared about its citizens. Oh my goodness, this is just annoying. This is purely annoying because of the fact that the government can't even take responsibility for itself, and obviously the Colorado government will never want to blame Joe Biden. They're in the same exact page, and especially the governor of Colorado, he's trying to, instead of saying Merry Christmas, he says Feliz Navidad, and he likes to sing, and he likes to sit there and dance in stupid ways on TikTok and Twitter. It's just stupid. It's just highly stupid. The Colorado governor will never actually take responsibility for his own actions or the government's actions because of the fact that he would rather blame you, the taxpayer. That's exactly why I would move out of Colorado immediately, move out of California immediately, move into somewhere a lot more safe like Florida that actually cares about its citizens. In letters obtained by the Denver Grenzel, the investor said that the situation has gotten so out of control that they reached out to local officials seeking help to remove the members, which the lawyer claimed had forcibly taken control of the property. The property's landlord also inquired about hiring off-duty police officers to provide security for the property. Requests by the police department reportedly declined. At the same exact time, of course, the police department is going to decline because now the police department is going to side with the government instead of the people. No, they would say, no, you never did that. Yes, if they have the evidence to support the claim, then yes, they did. He was told we don't have the staffing to provide adequate security at his properties. The police spokesperson told the Grenzel in a statement. Rep. Greg Lopez, Republican from Colorado, is pushing the Biden administration to crack down on the presence of illegal immigrants involved in the gangs inside of the United States and introduced a new bill last week to combat migrant gangs. This was back in September. If passed, the bill would compel the Department of Homeland Security, the DHS secretary, to issue detainers for migrants who are known by law enforcement to be affiliated with the gang, which is blatant. I mean, obviously we should do this. Like, why do we need to convince anybody that we need to deport migrants that are affiliated with gangs killing our citizens? It just doesn't make any sense. Why do we need to convince lawmakers to actually protect us? The people that they're supposed to be serving. Why are we supposed to convince them? No, it's not. It should not be the case. Under your leadership of the United States, it has lost control of the southern border, Lopez wrote in the letter to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on Wednesday, urging him to immediately issue a directive to local Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office to aggressively apprehend, detain, and deport any members of TDA or other known foreign criminal gangs located in the state of Colorado, with a specific focus on Denver suburbs like Aurora. With millions of encounters every year, criminal networks, including Tren de Aragua, have taken advantage of the situation and are wreaking havoc on our communities. Illegal immigrants have been accused of multiple high-profile killings in the United States this year, including Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nunegre. Federal officials believe TDA is operating in a metro Denver area and terrorizing several apartment complexes around the city and neighboring suburbs. However, local politicians continue to insist the hysteria surrounding concerns about the Venezuelan gang members taking over common complexes were overblown by the media. No, you take over one apartment complex, and it's the complete wildfire. It's a disaster on the federal level. Never mind multiple apartment complexes, and you're sitting here saying, well, this is blown out of proportion. No, try to take over an apartment complex in the CCP, in China. You're killed immediately. No, not deported, you're killed. Never mind that. Try this in another country. This will never go over. So with that being said, we actually have the report from the Pentagon that I just talked about, which the Pentagon can't even fully account for $824 billion, which the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, has now posted on X a couple of times. And this is actually really good because even before Trump is inaugurated into office, they're trying to get work done. So obviously, they cannot account for $824 billion, and $236 billion of that is in improper payments to federal programs in 2023. $200 billion is in pandemic relief that went to fraud/abuse, and the United States failed to track $1 billion in Ukraine aid. So, of course, it adds up. How much do we not know about yet? And this is only a small area of a huge iceberg that we're about to find out. Like, this is only the top of the iceberg, which at the bottom, there's miles and miles long of iceberg to actually discover. And this is exactly why I cannot wait for Doge to actually get full control over this, so we can actually start seeing things in live time. Like, okay, this department's spending this much money, this department's spending this much money. Why? Cut it down. So then we start cutting down all of the expenditures, and then we can say, okay, well, let's start focusing on our debt. And then once we start focusing on our debt, bring that down, then we can have a flourishing country again. We don't have to worry about inflation as much. We don't have to worry about that 2% anymore. I mean, it might be the 1%, might be the new normal. It might be. I mean, hopefully. But of course, this can never happen if we have outstanding debt in the trillions of dollars. So with that being said, we have another article here from the Daily Wire. We have if this would load, it would be amazing. A lot of the games over the weekend have also shown players as soon as they go and get a goal or so, they would go and do the Trump dance, which is like something like a little shimmy. And it's really amazing seeing all of the players that actually are doing the Trump dance. And it's funny though, because of the fact that they're doing it on not only on the UFC, but they're also doing it on the NFL. They're doing it in golf. They're doing so many different people are doing this dance, and the NFL just came out and said that it does not care. It's like, okay, do it. They're not bothered. They don't care. So let's see how long this actually takes hold. I mean, let's see how long this takes for the NFL to not say that there is an issue. Like they said that there is, quote, not an issue with players celebrating the Trump dance, but let's see how long that actually takes to become an issue, because it definitely will. The NFL will have enough of this. NFL players from across the league have celebrated their individual victories by doing what has been labeled as the Trump dance in honor of President-elect Donald Trump, which became a viral hit during the 2024 election. Video of Trump dancing to the Village's People's YMCA at the numerous presidential rallies led to supporters making videos of themselves doing the same dance moves, making the Trump dance a viral sensation that is now showing up in sporting events everywhere. Las Vegas Raiders tight end Brock Bowers did the Trump dance moves when he scored a touchdown on Sunday after he caught a 23-yard pass late in the third quarter to give the Raiders 12 points against the Miami Dolphins 17. So they're doing this in golfing. Like I said, they're doing it in so many different things. We do have a video here. If we can see this. Yeah, okay. So this is a video. I don't know if it's going to be copyright, so I'm just going to mute it. Yeah, so they're doing it in UFC, like I said. So many different people are doing it in UFC, and we have Trump reacting to them doing it in UFC, and then we have them in football after scoring a touchdown or so. And a couple different teams are doing it. They're doing it in soccer. And then not only the one person, but also the whole entire team is doing it. Yeah, so this is just amazing seeing all of the different people doing it. And this should be a continuation of what we should keep doing because of the fact that, yeah, again, this is the Trump dance, and everybody loves Trump at this point in time because they know that he's actually going to get things done. And they're doing it in golf too. It's funny seeing this dance done not only by Trump, but by also other people because of the fact that, like I said, everybody is enjoying the Trump administration's before he was even inaugurated. They just wanted some difference in between what we have been dealing with and what is to come. So we're just excited for that. And I think that, yeah, everybody should keep on doing the Trump dance. It's just a hilarious thing because the media is going to start freaking out about this as soon as they find out about this. So with that being said, we're going to do it for this episode of the Demetrius Rougeau Show. If you did like this episode and you do want to see more, I do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day.